Evening and welcome to the Cuyahoga County Progressive Caucus March membership meeting. My name is Steve Holecko. I'm the political director of the organization. And just a little housekeeping note at first. What we found through numerous Zoom meetings is that it is best not to post links in the chat because people are going back and forth looking at the link. So what will happen is all of the links that we talk about in the meeting tonight, we will email you tomorrow afternoon. So then you can take your time, look at it. Oh yeah, I remember that. That's cool. That's cool. You know, that type of thing. I will tell you the three links that will be at the top. One is become a member of the Cuyahoga County Progressive Caucus. Just looking around the room, I'm not sure if all of you guys are members, but chances are, if you're here, you'll want to become a member if you are not already one. Membership is free. Just click the link and sign up, and you'll start getting our emails. There will also be a donate link. We are all volunteer funded, all volunteer staffed, and we depend on small contributions from folks like you to keep our office open and to, run our server and all kinds of tech stuff. And there'll also be a link to a video of this meeting. And we'd ask that you share it. The email is going out to everybody who either registered or attended the meeting. And I guess if you're attending, you obviously registered. But we found that the video of our meetings, actually more people view the video than actually come to the meetings. So, we'll get you that as well. And then, of course, links from our speakers tonight. We have Megan Alaba, who is from the Fair Districts Speakers Bureau, and Alina Starks, who is the Ohio director of the Ohio Working Families Party. But before we get to them, I want to start off with a big thank you to those of you who worked on the Matthew On campaign. And I know, some people put their heart and soul into that. I know some of you were standing out a week ago Tuesday, freezing, passing out Matthew's literature. And we really fought the good fight, even though Matthew came up short. I can't remember a campaign that has galvanized the progressive community as much as Matthew's campaign did. But even when we fight the good fight and fall short, it's not a waste of time because it sets the stage for the next campaign, which we might win. And Matthew raised a lot of issues. Cash bail, diversion programs, death penalty. The list is endless. And I think, one of the things that we're going to make as a priority organizationally is to keep his message alive. I kind of think that if the election was only of voters who knew the issues, Matthew would have won. But as there's a lot of voters that, look at the most yard signs and the Irish name, that type of thing, which may have tilted the balance. But again, thank you very much for what you did to make that campaign happen. I also want to say a big thank you to those of you who filled out our Browns Stadium survey. We actually have had over the last few months a very, very good response to that. And we found that overwhelmingly, you guys do not want public sector dollars used in Brown Stadium renovations or what appears now to be maybe even likely a new dome stadium in Brook Park. So if you haven't taken the survey, you can still do that, and it's still linked in every one of our emails, including the one you'll get tomorrow after this meeting. But it's time to take action, and one of the things that we're going to do right from the start is try to get our members to call their county council person. Because with the likelihood now that it's going to be in Brook Park, that's going to be county money, not city money. So it's very simple. We will send you sample scripts, sample talking points. If you don't get through, you just leave a message to your county council person saying, I am a constituent, give your name, and I am opposed to any public sector dollars being used for a Browns stadium. We're not sure, when this legislation is going to appear. We've been working on this project for like over a year now, and different things get leaked. Okay, but it seems like it's imminent because if you saw the news on Tuesday, Jimmy Haslam at the NFL owners said he's looking at a dome stadium in Brook Park. Okay, so he's not doing that if there's not something behind the scenes. Before we get to Megan and Alina, I want to turn it over to Deb Klein, who's going to talk a little bit about community defense organization for our drag storytime brothers and sisters. Deb?
Hi, good evening, everyone. And then Steve, I'll just do the technical stuff right after. There are a couple of us that are organizing the drag defenders. There's now a website that's up called it's thedragdefenders.org, and the whole idea is to get activists out when right now we're targeting Colors Plus when they're doing Drag Story Hour. The Proud Boys have kind of caught wind of what's going on at Colors. They have threatened that they're going to show up in force. However, they didn't the last time they had the Drag Story Hour. But the idea is to get people out there that can help defend any of the people trying to go into the Drag Story Hour. So we will have information in the follow-up email that Steve will send tomorrow. There's a pledge to get involved. And the idea is to possibly pivot if need be and do other defending kind of work or action if something else comes up, especially if the November election doesn't go very well. So if you are interested and would like to get involved, the information will be in the follow-up email tomorrow. And then the other thing is for the technology tonight, if you have a question for either one of our speakers, please either put it in the chat or raise your hand. And I'm not talking raise your hand in the screen. Go down to the bottom of your screen where it says reactions, and you will see the feature to raise your hand. And so that way we can put the people that have questions in the queue.
Okay, our first speaker is Megan Alaba, who is from the Fair District Speakers Bureau.
Hi, thanks. I've got a slide presentation, so I'm going to be sharing my screen, but my name is Megan and I am working with Fair Districts and have worked with Fair Districts in the past on past gerrymandering issues, but today I am here to talk about this. The Citizens, Not Politicians Amendment. So tonight I will briefly talk about what it is, how it works, and why this matters. Oh, all right. So who are we? We're Ohio's leading nonpartisan redistricting advocates and experts. Fair Districts is led by the League of Women Voters of Ohio and Common Cause Ohio. And then you can see some of the coalition members that are also a part of this, the ACLU and those others. So I will briefly go over what gerrymandering is, why it's bad. Didn't we do this already? Yes. And then we'll go over what the Citizens Not Politicians Amendment is and how the citizen commissioners are chosen. It's really cool. The process is really interesting. And then at the end, there will be some ways that you can help out with the amendment campaign. And I did share I did share some of the handouts that come with this. If we were meeting in person, I would have printed them and given them to you. So I did share that with Steve, and I can also share these slides with all this information as well. So I can send this off to Steve and Deb as well. So what is gerrymandering? Gerrymandering is when electoral districts are drawn by the party in power and the incumbent politicians, protecting the incumbent politicians in order to predetermine elections. The main goal is to manipulate the district lines to create an advantage for political groups. Republicans and Democrats have done it and will continue to do it. So, this is a visual representation of some of the ways that gerrymandering happens, creating unfair districts, but I don't have a lot on this, so I'm just gonna move on to the next one. So, what's so bad about it? Gerrymandering lets the representatives pick voters. So it means that, you know, once politicians are able to choose their voters, they're not really accountable anymore to the voters. And it also impacts voter participation because you lose faith. Like, you can't win because your district is gerrymandered. And it dilutes the power of groups who oppose the party and the politicians that are in power. So it makes it harder to make changes. When districts are gerrymandered, they're less competitive, so voters have fewer choices. And one of the things that happens and that it leads to primary elections becoming more important than the general elections. And that basically leads to minority rule because the primary election turnouts are generally very low. Didn't we already try to fix this? We sure did. So Ohioans support overwhelmingly fair districts. We have voted twice for reform, 2015 and 2018. And we thought that, you know, these amendments would actually hold politicians accountable, but they did not do the right thing. So what we have learned from these past two campaigns is that voters want to hold politicians accountable, and politicians cannot resist the temptation to draw their districts the way they would like them. So that leads us to this new amendment. This is how we're going to fix it for good. The citizens, not politicians, amendment is what will fix this. We need to pass that, get this passed. What is it? So the citizens, not politicians, proposed constitutional amendment puts the power to draw the maps in the hands of citizens. It'll create a 15-member commission made up of 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, 5 independents that will be representative of different geographic and areas and demographics of the state. One of the key things is that it will ban current and former politicians, political party leaders, lobbyists, their family members, basically anyone that has had any kind of political affiliation within the last 6 years from even being considered for this board. The commission is going to be required to follow existing sorry. So the commission, the other thing about, so the selection process, which I'll get into, is going to be transparent, and the entire operation will be open and independent, transparent to the citizens throughout the whole process. And so with this commission, the voters will get to draw the lines, and like I said, it's going to be open, transparent, and inclusive, and politicians will actually be held accountable. All right. So the amendment is going to ensure fair maps because it's going to comply with the Voting Rights Act. It's bans gerrymandering. And this thing that's new here is that the maps cannot take incumbents or candidates' addresses into account at all, which has historically been done. And then the maps must preserve communities of interest. And so let me tell you, I have a couple notes on that. Communities of interest are can be both geographical, like keeping counties whole, school districts, that kind of thing. But also there will be opportunities for testimony and participation of citizens to really to advocate for the communities. We've got 5 geographical regions that where hearings will be held for citizens to participate. The data that's used for these maps is required to be made public. And then it's just gonna be the hearings. Hearings are required before and after maps are drafted. If challenges to the maps occur, more hearings. And the public gets to see everything before anything is adopted. Any Ohio elector can challenge a map. Challenges will go to the Supreme Court, and 2 master credential experts required to ensure the maps follow the rules. The 2 special masters will have to follow the same requirements as the citizen commissioners. So they cannot have any contracts with any political parties as well. This is really this is a non-partisan process. All right, this is the fun part for me. The way this the commission's chosen. All right, so first, to be eligible to serve, you have to be a citizen, resident of Ohio for 6 years, and you have to be registered to vote. You have to, again, like I said before, you cannot have paid, unpaid, appointed party, positions. Any candidate for an elective office at any level, local up to federal, cannot be a registered lobbyist. And then there's an open application process. The politicians and lobbyists get screened out. The people who are doing the screening are retired judges. So the application process is overseen by a bipartisan panel, two Republicans, 2 Democrats. And then the screening process is going to be completely transparent. The public can watch this. They will select 45 finalists. So then this is how, so there's a balance of in the selection process. So the commissioners, of those 45 people who've been approved, 6 of them are randomly drawn. 2 independents, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. And then those 6 commissioners, so those are the first 6 commissioners, and then they are tasked with selecting the final 9. And they have the rules that that dictate that. Let's see, I'm sorry, I loaded the wrong the previous presentation I was working on had the slide numbers on them, and this one doesn't. So it's helping with my notes. did not have a note. Sorry, this is actually my very first presentation, so thank you for being patient with me. I know that the more I practice, the smoother it'll go. What this amendment does, basically, it stops the parties from cheating. It stops politicians from cheating, and it allows citizens to draw the lines. There are a bunch of different ways that you can help. First and foremost, sign the petition if you have not already. And then like I said, I will send these slides out. We'll get those. You can all these links for ways to get involved. And I've lost track of my time. So that is the end of the presentation. Are there any questions, Deb?
Yes, we have one. Can you stop sharing the screen, Megan?
I suppose so.
So from Gail Larson, if this amendment passes, which election would be the first under the new rules for drawing the maps?
26.
And
they want the map. Yeah, they want the whole process will be 2025.
Okay, and then we have Mike Rogowski. You have to unmute.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Deb. I just have a question. So what makes this different than previous attempts, in, I guess, your opinion, that this will finally be a success versus everything that's occurred in the past?
So what makes this different is that it takes politicians completely out of the process. They're not allowed to be involved. So it's going to be completely citizen driven. This amendment was written by a group of experts, including League of Women Voters, Common Cause law professors, judges. They have researched and observed what other states have done, but this is very Ohio specific, and it's the politicians coming out of it. There's transparency. There will be. I think the rules for who can be involved, even the cartographers, those experts cannot have partisan affiliations to be a part of it.
Okay, our next question comes from Nina McClellan. Nina, you have to unmute.
Yeah. What is the deadline for the petition signatures to be in?
They have to be to the Secretary of State by July 3rd. So we'll be calling them all in by July 1st. And it's the same requirements or similar requirements to what happened with issue 1, which was the last, amendment that we did, a petition-led amendment, which was 413,487 valid signatures from at least 44 of the counties. I do know that we are on track. I don't have any specific numbers for you. I'm sorry, but I do know that the county's pledged to collect about 100,000 of those, and we're ahead of the goal. So we're on track. It's looking good.
Okay, Steve.
First of all, just a comment. Megan, your last slide with all those links,
yes,
those will be in the text of the email we send out tomorrow, as well as in your slide presentation. So they'll have two places where they can.
Oh, fantastic.
Look for it. But I do have a question.
Okay.
The part about any elector can challenge it, and the challenge is determined by the Ohio Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me that Republican electors will make numerous frivolous challenges in an attempt to tie this up in the courts indefinitely, particularly if the Ohio Supreme Court stays controlled by Republicans. Is there a safeguard to that?
So I was just reviewing one of the videos that they gave us, and what, that was, the actual Supreme Court will decide how they hear all the challenges, and so we don't know how it'll go, but likely they'll like lump them all together and hear them together. That is the best answer that I can give right now. But I'm gonna take a note and I'm gonna find out.
Okay, next question by Eric Deemer.
Everyone, I'll start my video to be for. So, well, this kind of is similar to Steve. I mean, I know the mantra is the politicians are out of it, but there's no way. I understand that they're out of it in the actual redistricting process as set out in the thing, but they're still involved in the process of implementing this amendment. Like, even if we get all the signatures and turn them all in and everything, there's all kinds of stuff they can do. I mean, is there any thought about any of that? I mean, just like the difficulty we're having implementing recently done ones, like that's more the angle I'd look at.
Yeah, that is not something that I have an answer to, but I can get it.
Megan, this is a constitutional amendment, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they can't mess with it like they are with the issue 2 with the weed bill. So yeah. Joe, Brett.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
My question was kind of in a similar vein. I definitely signed it, and I agree with it. But is there a thought process on how you determine whether or not somebody is politically attached? Like, is it because they pulled a certain ballot, in which case surely that would get rid of loads of people, but then also there's lots of people that have worked for politicians that are definitely politically attached, but haven't necessarily ran for office per se themselves.
So that is that will be the job of the bipartisan selection panel. So those 4 judges, the 4 retired judges, with the support of the Ohio Department of Administration Services, will be tasked with reviewing and fact checking. So, they're people. So maybe something, who knows, maybe things will slip, but that they, the idea is that they will be doing some fact checking, and hopefully it'll work out.
Are there any other questions? I think that's it, Steve.
Okay, wait, I want to review. So this is for Steve. I'm going to find out. No, wait. We want to find out what kind of safeguards there are to Supreme Court challenges that might hold everything up, right? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find out for you, Steve. And I'll have an email. Okay.
Thank you, Megan. Let's give Megan a round of applause. She did an excellent job considering this was her first presentation.
Thank you.
All right, next up, I would like to introduce the director of the Ohio Working Families Party, Alina Starks.
Yeah, hey everyone. Good evening. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Deb, for having me. And yeah, again, great job, Megan. It's hard. It's hard stuff. It's hard running presentations, talking to Zoom. You're trying to look at a million screens at once. And yeah, as you said, practice makes perfect. And so with that in mind, you all give me grace as I go into mine. I'm not sharing slides, but I do, again, as Steve has shared, my name is Alina Starks. I'm the state director for the Working Families Party. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do in Ohio, the work that WFP does throughout the country, and how my objective in this space is to hear the needs of the community that we're talking about, or here in this space, and then across the county, and like what I'm hearing at large, and how we recruit, train, support, and equip progressive champions to address those needs. So the WFP the Working Families Party, is the party for the multiracial working class. And we are fighting for a nation that cares for all of us, not just the few, not just the wealthy few. And I like to say that the WFP is a non-delusional third party. So we are not interested in spoiling elections. We run candidates through the Democratic Party, specifically here in Ohio, where we don't have a ballot line like some of our other states like New York. They have a ballot line. So they run folks as WFP candidates. In Philadelphia or maybe PA at large, they use their minority seats to run WFP candidates. But here in Ohio, we have the Democratic Party, and we run candidates through the Dem Party. And also, even more locally, like in Cleveland in particular, we know that if a candidate has the tools that they need and know exactly how to run for office, and we get a lot of folks who don't know what they're doing, which is fine, but they have the the desire and the will to run, we can win these seats. I mean, voter turnout is very low, and folks are winning office by like 400 votes and things. Like we can run good campaigns and just win. So I think that's a good way to. Yep, I said non-delusional. Yes. So we are not here to spoil, and we're here to win. And we're on our way. So to us, a party is a group of people with a shared ideology who work together to make change, using the electoral system as the primary avenue for making that change. Our party is an alliance of organizations, activists, voters, candidates, campaign managers, and even donors who elect the next generation of progressive leaders and fight for a nation, again, that works for the many. We strategize within the two-party system we currently have while planning for a multi-party democracy in the long term. Through primaries, organizing caucuses, and holding elected officials accountable, we challenge the Democrats to be better. Our strategy also includes flipping red chambers and geographies to blue. We're really hoping to do that we mentioned the Supreme Court here. So I am really hoping that becomes a larger and louder conversation. I don't understand why. I haven't been hearing a lot of folks talk about the Supreme Court race here in Ohio. We talked a lot about the prosecutor's race, and again, WFP, we endorsed Matthew, of course, and I was very proud of the work we did to support Matthew. And we did get a historic win in Franklin County. We got Shayla Favor elected. She's the first Black person and first Black woman to be a prosecutor in Franklin County. So that was a big win there. So we're interested in flipping seats and increasing the number and variety of places where we can implement these tactics. So we are all too familiar with what's going on right now in the world, in the state, in our county. We are experiencing an unprecedented escalation of compounding crises. We've got a genocide. We've got an economic collapse. We've got climate fuel disasters, police killings, housing inequality, and the destruction of our democracy by the far right. And might I say, even the not so far right. So even as our democracy and social contracts are challenged, there has been a massive growth in political consciousness, activity, and desire for change. We saw that last year when they tried it with the special election, and we showed up and we were like, we're paying attention. We know what words mean. We know you're trying to take our rights, and they really challenged our intelligence on that one, and then we turned around and beat issue 1 and won 2 as well. The desire is there, and I think it's really important that we keep building on that momentum of August and November of last year. But these compounding crises have really sparked major shifts in public opinion. Across the country, popular understanding is growing of the expanded role that government can and must play in caring for all of us and creating better material conditions. Yet it's pretty unclear whether our current movements and political system are up to the task of tackling them with long-term solutions. We find ourselves doing work, just really a lot of reactionary work and not so much proactive work. We know that even the overturn of Roe, that they were planning that 50 years ago. And we have to have the same kind of resilience and foresight and strategy as the right does. So to achieve our long-term and sustainable vision of a society rooted in equality, dignity, solidarity, compassion, it requires building governing power by and for the multiracial, multi-gendered working class. It means out-organizing what organized capital, has already bought. So that's why we formed a party. So again, a group of individuals that are organizing together to engage in elections to advance a transformative structural change platform that locks in real gains for working class people. The Working Families Party model, and especially our success over the past few years, nationally provides a promising roadmap to progress. Again, building a truly multiracial working class coalition capable of building the governing power required to make our nation one that truly serves us. Historically, WFP has made its biggest investment in building power within states. State and local governments have immense power over people's lives on issues including taxation, workers' rights, criminal justice, education, and WFP chapters around the country endorse and elect candidates to municipal office. And we do this primarily based on the power local governments have over the issues, again, that directly impact our lives. So the ones I just named, going further to education, policing, housing. Additionally, electing local officials is a critical part of building our base for higher seats. City councilors, school board members can often become mayors, state legislators, and members of Congress. And at the same time, local races and local issues are often a first step into volunteering and activism, and building strong local organizations is crucial for winning general elections in our state, in a state like Ohio. So Steve mentioned the loss of Matthew's campaign, but and we can even throw in issue 38, participatory budgeting, in there as well. Both of those campaigns really galvanized and mobilized a lot of voters and a lot of folks that are new to the political scene and felt seen in those movements, in those campaigns. And the Working Families Party and me in particular exists to bring those folks in, provide a political home where we are welcoming of folks that really are feeling not heard and not seen in the two-party system. And so we see here more and more in Ohio that the ballot measures are really what are getting folks out to vote. It's not, we haven't had too much success with having candidates that people are really excited about. Every once in a while we get a Matthew on, we get a Nina Turner. Maybe I'm missing some other folks, but it's it's important that we use these ballot initiatives to engage people and also find our next leaders, find candidates in those movements. I'm really happy to say I've been building a relationship with the Palestinian movement, because they are doing amazing work in really making this an educational moment and bridging the gap and showing how intersectional this movement is and how it affects all of us. And I really appreciate them doing direct work with Black organizers and Black groups because this, if no one else knows, Black folks know what it feels like to be oppressed. And for them to include us in the conversation from the beginning is really important. And, there's a lot of folks that are coming out of that space that might want to run for city council next year. Or down the line or county council. So we have to using these ballot measures and the groundswell that comes out of these space for and politicizing those really emotional oppressive moments is really an objective. And so to add to getting involved locally, of course, I've already mentioned we endorse, but beyond endorsing candidates, another step that I want to take that WFP does, but I want to really make sure it's a focal point is supporting candidates while they're running and then even after. We endorsed, at this point, I guess is this the fourth time we've endorsed Tristan? Third. I guess this is his third time running, right? So
Well, he's only
Tristan,
run 3 times, so it can't be
He's-
4.
so third time, yeah. So he's been with us. We've been with him since the beginning, which I'm really happy about. And he loves WFP. We love him. And but what he's mentioned, and we've have like a commissioner in Dayton who's mentioned this, but a lot of people, first of all, a lot of people orgs endorse candidates but don't really do anything for them after that endorsement. I can't, luckily I'm here with an org, CCPC, that shows up after you all endorse, which is huge. But most people, it's just like a logo on a flyer, right? But what WFP plans to do for the candidates that we endorse is continue to connect them to like national partners that we have that do trainings, or really making sure that communication stays happening, because we want to make sure that they have a direct line to the activists on the ground, to what's happening in communities that they are representing, and that we can really amplify the work that they're doing, and not just hold them accountable in a way that is like when they're messing up, but also lift up the great work that they are doing. And so to really keep that conversation going and keep supporting them and not abandoning them after endorsement, after they win, because that's what I keep hearing, is that these candidates need support. And because it's very isolating, especially when you are maybe the singular progressive person on a body, you're fighting for your life, and it's very easy to get swept up by the majority of the Democrats who are not necessarily as progressive as you are. And as far, again, so endorsing, supporting, electing transformative candidates who wield power over the systems that affect our life. And when fewer, so going into training, and we also are focusing on, let's see, when are we starting this? Probably like in April, focusing on really thinking ahead to 25. There's a lot of talk about Cleveland City Council. City Council is up. There's a lot of folks that want to run for office, are not happy with City Council for, that's a whole nother conversation, but we are getting involved in the City Council races next year. And part of that is going to be training. Lots and lots of training, recruiting and training folks to run for office, folks that want to help work on campaigns, campaign managers, data people, digital people, comms people. And we know that when fewer people have access to the tools of democracy, the outcomes for us, for progressives, are worse. So we support perpetual candidate training and recruitment work everywhere, not just where there are open seats, because we know that there's no way to predict what opportunities will present themselves. Sometimes we have a good guess of, maybe, we get thrown into the rumor mill and we might hear some things, but to do this work 365 days is the best way to not only stay ready, but also gain trust in the communities that we're trying to build, and we're asking for their vote. I think it was really clear in what was that? When did Tim Ryan not win? It was really clear when Ward 1 didn't show up that I interpreted that as they were tired of their vote being taken for granted, because people were really loud and clear about how they weren't happy about the way Tim Ryan was running his campaign. And eventually folks will just, and we are losing voters. We are losing people, and it is because we are not listening to their needs. We are not listening to how they about their priorities. We're only showing up in like a few months before an election, and we have to be engaging. We have to be engaging year round. So we plan to deepen and grow our candidate training and recruitment pipelines, and deepening that alignment between the activists, community organizations, and labor, to help consolidate our efforts behind candidates and earlier in their races to maximize our collective impact. I think that's something that is really kind of missing in this space. We have a lot of great orgs doing work, but I think, and I've talked to Steve about this, is like we all have to come together and agree on a slate, and all have to push for these folks so we can win. It's definitely possible, but we have to be so clear on who we're supporting and how we're going to do it, and divvy up the work, and not all be doing the same thing, and really strategize for the long term. And let's see, what else do I want to talk about? That's basically about it. So our whole thing: recruiting, training, and electing progressive candidates to office. We just got out of the primary last week. I'm going to be pivoting soon to help support CNP and One Fair Wage, and I'm here in DC for the America Votes Conference, and Saru, I forget Saru's last name, she's the founder of One Fair Wage. She's here, and so as you all probably know, Mariah Ross, she's the state director for One Fair Wage, and my objective there is to, and we're going to work together closely we're going to collect some signatures for them, and really planning on recruiting candidates that want to lift up One Fair Wage. And I think that these ballot issues are really going to get folks out to vote, because it might not be Sherrod, it definitely might not be Biden, but minimum wage and fair districts are going to bring folks out. And I want to make sure that we recruit candidates and are tying candidates to these issues to really turn out the vote and make sure and trickle up to our top of the ticket. So yeah, so that's me. Also going way backwards a little bit, I am born and raised in Cleveland. I'm from here, and sadly never lived anywhere else. Cleveland has a tight hold on me, but I'm happy to do this work. I really love this work, and I met Steve back in probably like 2015 when we were working for Bernie's campaign, and it's an honor to be in this space, and I love the work that CCPC does, and I hope that we can find some ways to work together and really, as they say, many hands make light work. So there's a lot of work, and we need all the hands we can get. So thanks for hearing from me.
Before we get to questions, Alina, correct me if I'm wrong. There is virtually no difference between CCPC's platform and the Working Families Party. Would you agree with me?
I was literally just telling someone before I got here. I was like, yeah, I mean, CCPC is WFP, WFP is CCPC. We have the same vision, I think, for the state. I will say, I think that what WFP is, and this is not a knock, but it is it's I have to say it. we need more Black people. We need more people of color in these spaces, especially if we're asking them to vote. So that is something that I'm very passionate about, is like getting a diverse group of people to do this work. So I think that has to be a focal point, especially now more than ever. The same things are just not cutting it. So yeah, but yeah, as far as our candidate, we're always on the same page about letting these billionaires pay for their own things, progressive candidates, supporting the candidates that we endorse, and doing the work that a lot of folks don't want to do.
Any questions? Yes. Okay, the first one is Mike Rogowski.
Hi, Lena. Sorry, I just got back from running. My hair is messy. Can you tell me, or can you tell us what kind of candidate or what type of candidate is not a good profile, or what you're not looking for versus you shared what you're looking for?
Let me think. We're looking for candidates who have a history of doing work in the communities they come from. I think it's really important to pull from people that are directly impacted by the things that are affecting the majority of us, and are really have a close proximity to, as I feel like I'm pulling Nina Turner's line, like proximity to pain, but like really understand the issues that they are trying to represent and that their constituents represent. So folks that maybe just don't really have a connection to community and aren't trusted in the community, I don't think those would be our type of candidate. And we have an endorsement questionnaire. All of our candidates, as you CCPC does as well, we have an endorsement questionnaire that kind of helps vet those candidates and their history, their values, vision. And I have an endorsement committee that helps me screen those folks. And a plus of being here forever is that if I haven't heard of you, it's probably like, what are you doing in the community? So like making sure that people know who these people are, especially because again, we really need authentic candidates. Folks just aren't showing up for people that they don't believe in. So that comes from authenticity and doing the work in their communities.
Next question is Joe Brett.
Yeah, hi. My name is Joe. I was actually Matthew's communications director. So thank you for all of the work you guys did with us. But my question was just, in 4 years, where do you see both Working Families Party and Cuyahoga County as a whole if you could get all of your wishes?
In Cuyahoga County, if we could get I mean, we'd have Matthew on as prosecutor. We'd have a mayor that is not interested in TIFs. We'd have a city council that is bold and brave and stands up for their constituents and brings money into their wards, brings real sustainable jobs to the county. That's more of a mayor thing again. But higher voter turnout, and really and it's like some professional goals would be that I really build like a table of folks that share these same dreams for the county and are really interested in doing the work and in a real way. Like we do the hard soul searching work of putting our ego aside for the good of the people. And if we say we care about a thing, let's do the things that we need to do. And I like to say that a lot of the answers are pretty clear and pretty simple. It's hard work, but it's simple. You know, we need folks that we believe in, that understand what folks are going through to run for office. We need folks like you, Joe, doing more comms for these folks. We need these orgs that are doing great work to get the money they need to keep the program up. Yeah, so I'll stop there. But yeah, I think I will, in short and in summary, I would love to see WFP kind of be really kind of be a political home for all of those folks that you know, maybe they voted for Obama, turned around and voted for Trump. Like, I feel like those are our people. Like, I want to do more. I want to talk to the folks that really are feeling lost and not heard in the political landscape right now. I think we have an opportunity and an obligation and responsibility to talk to them and also give them candidates to believe in, that really understand that we are losing so badly on so many fronts.
Any other questions? I think that's it, Steve.
Well, let's give Alina a round of applause. And little heads up about what's coming next month. Our focus is going to be, sadly, on the genocide in Palestine. Our featured speaker is Steve Sosby, who is the director of Heal Palestine, which is a relief organization. Steve is going to give us an up-to-the-minute update about what's happening in Palestine and what we can do to help. So thanks for coming tonight, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.